The Common Market by Joan Flynn. I know a woman who loves supermarkets. Well, it's not just supermarkets she loves. It's her own supermarket, the one where she shops every week, and more often than that if the truth were told. It's not really the food, although she really loves looking at mustard-dressed, pepper-encrusted beef on the bone, the red, yellow and green apples, and oh, the wonderful cheeses. Nor is it the cleaning materials. And it's certainly not the toilet paper or the often wonky trolleys. It's just the buzz of the place, the people she meets. There's a whole life going on in the supermarket that energises her, that kind of rounds off her week. The fruit and veg section is always ablaze with colour. Apples shine as if polished just minutes ago. She once saw a white aubergine. Imagine that. And another time, bananas so small that a bunch of them was like a child's hand with 8 fingers. She always feels that the horrid pink, insipid-looking things they call tomatoes bear no resemblance to real tomatoes, certainly not at all like the ones she used to pick in her father's greenhouse when she was young. When she comments on this to whoever happens to be standing beside her, they always agree. The woman hates to admit it, but she really doesn't like the fish counter. It's not that she doesn't enjoy a piece of lemon sole or a prawn cocktail served in a glass dish with lovely Mary Rose sauce. But the open-mouthed, ugly monkfish and the unnatural red slices of tuna make her avert her eyes as she passes. She's relieved that there's never a fishy smell from them and wonders how they manage that. She's very fond of the people that work in her supermarket. There's the gentle fellow at the deli counter with the very long curly hair neatly enclosed in a hairnet. She herself would never be caught in public with a hairnet on her head, but it kind of suits him. He's definitely not Irish. She had thought he might be Romanian or Arabic, but someone told her he was French. She would have thought that a Frenchman would have looked more romantic or arrogant, not shy and gentle. When she asks for 9 slices of billy roll for her grandchildren, she notices that he always makes sure to mix the slices, so that there is a dinosaur and a footballer and a teddy bear. Not many assistants take that trouble. She doesn't like to tell him that actually she doesn't have any grandchildren. She buys the meat for the dog, his Friday treat, but the young man mightn't understand. She never even glances at the ready-packed meat because there's Jack at the counter in the butchery who advises her on how to cook the different joints and who always makes sure she knows what's the best value this week. Then there's Bill, the security man, who was so kind to her some years ago when her arthritis was bad. He always made sure that someone would help her get the trolley to the car and the messages safely stashed inside. Bill is great. He makes time for a chat and seems constantly to be in good humour. She wonders if he's like that at home, but thinks that he probably is. She worries about the woman who does the yoghurt samples and who's always rather withdrawn. She wonders if she has an ulcer or corns on her toes, perhaps. It must be hard to have to go out to work if your health isn't good. Now, the lady at the cheese counter is another kettle of fish entirely, always eager for her to savour the cambozola or gobine. Quite often she'll press her to sip one of those dainty little plastic containers of Italian or South American wine. South America. Such a long way for wine to travel. She supposes it comes by sea. It'd be too heavy to fly all the glass bottles across those miles. Maybe the wine comes in huge barrels and is bottled here. One of the nicest things about the supermarket is that she meets other shoppers. Some of them she thinks of as friends, but they're really just people she sees almost every week and passes the time of day with, or asks how their children are getting on these days. And there are others, people she hasn't seen for years, who only come to her supermarket at Christmas or Easter. Most of them don't seem a day older than the last time she met them, but have lots of news of other old friends who are married or dead or gone to the Canaries for the holidays. There are hardly ever any children in the supermarket. Thank goodness for the on-site creches. She doesn't like big children much. Well, not in the supermarket. They're noisy, you know? It somehow ruins the rhythm of the place. But often there are babies, tiny ones, little eyes shut tight, bigger ones reaching for things from shelves, And they seem to come in all colours nowadays. Heads of tight black curls, dark-skinned with almond-shaped eyes, brown-eyed, pale-faced beauties, slow-eyed imps with ornaments in their hair, blonde, pink-cheeked bundles. In fairness, she knows that there are people who hide when they see her coming, afraid that she'll delay them for longer than they want with idle chatter. But that's okay. She herself has to hide sometimes when she's in a hurry or in bad humour and doesn't want to inflict her ill temper on others. It's so easy to get into the habit of telling and retelling the story about one's sore toe or how she couldn't find the car keys for ages the other day. Some things are better kept to oneself. When the shopping is all done, she goes down the escalator with her small trolley full to the brim tilting ahead of her and sets off home. Sometimes she's glad when she forgets some of the things she meant to buy. She can always go back again tomorrow.